Cameron Tradukian here with the Daily Developer Show. It's late, I'm kind of tired out, but anyway, we're back at it again. The Daily Developer Show, the show where we talk every single day about how you can become a better developer and how you can optimize your lifestyle as a developer. Like SpongeBob used to say, imagination. Imagine the possibilities of, if you're working some kind of dead-end job, how much better things could be if you're making a great salary and you're learning every day and you could be in a career with potential. Anyway, we're getting off track now. The topic that I want to bring up with you in today's video is actually about the idea of stability. And what do I mean by stability? Well, this is actually a conversation I was having with the girl I'm seeing right now, and I told her, I'm feeling stressed. And something she brought up, which I thought was very insightful, was that she said that, part of the issue maybe is that you just don't have enough stability in your life. And that really made me think. It was definitely accurate, and I thought that maybe it could be true in your life also. It's difficult to have willpower when you're constantly having to make all these decisions. Have you ever heard Mark Zuckerberg's story? He wears the same t-shirt every single day. And I think Obama was like that too. So why do they do that? It's because they don't want to waste their decision on the little things. Right now I'm thinking about moving from this apartment. I was thinking about, am I going to go to Taiwan this summer? Am I going to go back to the US this summer? Am I going to stay in Vietnam? What am I going to do next year? Am I going to continue to do client work? Am I going to try to move back to the US and try to find a job? I've got some different financial things that I have to deal with. So there was a lot I've been thinking about, and everything I'm just like, so many decisions that have to be made. And I've just been feeling kind of drained lately. Look at my daily coding journal. You'll see my hours have been down the last 3, 4, 5 days. And maybe this is happening to you too. Maybe you're finding it difficult to find time to code because, you're having drama with your girlfriend, or because, your boys are asking you to go out for drinks and you're having an inconsistent wake time. Something that I think is very useful to think about, and something that in the coming days and weeks I'm going to try to get better about, is having some kind of consistency, having a routine that you can come back to that'll hold you accountable, something that you can stick to. As much as we hate the office format, having to go into the dreaded cubicle, there is a reason that they have that. It's because when you go to work, when you do your commute to work and you come to the office, it's time to work. You have people watching you, so you're held accountable at least to some extent. Maybe you don't get a full 8 hours of deep work in, but maybe you get, out of those 8 hours, maybe you get 4, 5, 6.5 hours of deep work in. Whereas if you would have just been sitting at home, maybe you only got 2 hours of deep work in, like I did today. So, what is the takeaway in this video? Am I just here to rant to you? Yes, I am. There is no takeaway. No. The takeaway is that learning to code is difficult enough as it is. And if you have all these other things you also have to worry about, that's not going to be good. So you're not going to be able to have the energy to focus and listen. Isn't there a book called The One Thing? I think that book was about choosing one. I don't really know what that book was about. The point was, Tim Ferriss, he always asks, what is the one thing that I could do where if I did it successfully, nothing else would matter? And I think you should ask yourself this question. And if your answer is getting good at code, just make getting good at code your focus, and don't worry about anything else. So if your one thing that will change your life, that will make everything else not matter or seem very, very minor in comparison is learning code. Make learning code your number one focus. And don't worry if some of the other areas of your life are not advancing as quickly as you like. Even if you're just maintaining them, or even if they're in a slight decline, don't be worried about that right now. If your most important thing is learning to code, make that your focus. Don't worry about trying to get jacked in the gym. Don't worry about if you're a guy and you're trying to improve your dating life. Don't worry about talking to 1 million girls at this time. If you have another business, don't worry about trying to grow your other business at this time. Make your number one focus your number one focus. Make the important things the important things. And try to create a routine for yourself. There's an awesome John Sonmez video that I'll put in the description below, where there's a viewer and he talks and he says that, listen, when I was going to university and I was learning code or doing side projects, I was really productive. So I thought that if I was productive in my limited spare time, that, hey, when university finishes or when I'm on summer vacation and I don't have to do all my coursework, I'm going to be super productive in my side projects because I'll have so much more time. Well, in reality, that guy said, you know what happened, John? John is the guy who used to own this YouTube channel called Simple Programmer. It's now called Bulldog Mindset. It's great. You should watch it sometime. Great insights on that channel. But he said, you know what happened, John? Now that I've got all this free time, I don't utilize it correctly. In fact, I've gotten lazy. And John said, I know what that's about, my friend. And here's what you have to do. If you want to be productive, you have to pack your schedule. There's some kind of rule. I forgot what the rule is, but the rule is basically the idea that tasks will expand to the time you allot to them. So, if you only have to do 1 or 2 things during your day, you will not do those things in the most efficient manner possible because it's not necessary for you to do that. And in fact, you may rationalize that you don't have to get to those things right away and that you can watch TV or go on Instagram first because you've only got a couple things to do today. Why do you gotta hustle and jump right into everything? You got time, man. So if you want to avoid that, if you want to avoid wasting time, create a routine for yourself where you say, okay, well, I'm going to go to the convenience store or coffee shop, or I'm going to go to my home office every single day at 6, 7, 8, 9 a.m., same time every day. You can choose a specific time that works for your schedule. Or you can say, I'm going to go to my home office at 6:30 p.m. after work every day, if you already have a full-time job. And no matter what, I'm going to go and I'm going to code for 1 hour. And having that routine will ensure you actually get your practice time in. And my point here is that in your journey for learning how to code, this is something I'm picking up. 2 things that are very important are stability, meaning you're not worried about money and where your next meal is going to come from. You're not worried about if you're going to be in this apartment or move to a new apartment. You're not worried about problems with your significant other. You're not worried about, are you going to be seeing this girl or this guy this week and another girl this week or next week. You're not worrying about dating multiple people and getting found out. You're not worried. You're putting all that stuff to the side and you say, I'm going to have a stable life right now. It's not the most exciting thing. I'm not going to be the digital nomad, ping, 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 ping-ponging across every destination. I'm not going to be the person that's trying to go do some new activity every weekend. I'm not going to be playing pool this weekend and then going to the bar to drink next weekend and then going to the music festival the next week. No, I'm going to have a stable routine. I'm going to have stability in my life, and I'm going to have a routine or set time or schedule where I'm going to dedicate to programming. And by implementing these 2 things, I can tell you from experience, when I've done both of these things, I've been a lot more effective and I've gotten a lot more programming time in. I've had days where I've had to do 3, 4, 5, even 6 hours of client work, but I still managed to get 2 to 4 hours of programming in because I had both of these things together. And I've had other times where I had no obligations. All I had to do for that day was learn to code. And for example, today, that was all I had to do was learn to code. I didn't have to do anything else. And I wanted to put a lot of time in. And I still only got, I think, an hour and 50 minutes in. I got less than 2 hours of practice in. In a day, I had no obligations other than to learn to code. So what's the takeaway? Why am I doing this rant? It is important for you to do both. Have stability and have a routine, and you'll improve a lot more quickly in your development journey. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of it, and I'll see you in tomorrow's episode of the Daily Developer Show.